seconds, so it probably will be in about 5 seconds. Okay, we're now live. That's the first time it's actually started at 8. Normally it takes like 2 minutes where it's like, oh, actually, it's not quite 8 o'clock yet.
Sick.
We are
I'm
going.
about to get myself cancelled. Love that.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah,
we
man,
are
that's
actually
how we
live
do.
now.
Live. Hello. Are we?
Oh, I've done the name right. I haven't done the name. Oh my god.
You said it was automatic, Callum.
No, the title on the stream. I still got Gavin Rand.
Ah, no, it says Matt Bacon.
I can be Gavin if you need me to. I can be Gavin.
Yeah. You know what? Let's just do it.
Can you do it live?
Is it Nevermind Polly? It's Nevermind one word.
Technically 2, but it's either whatever. It doesn't matter too much. Are you doing it on the live? I love that.
Oh my god, I see it happening before my very eyes.
How do I do this? Share to.
I got to relive that just now, Callum. I really enjoyed that. Good evening, Marie. Hi.
Oh, we have people. Oh, I forget this is actually live, isn't it? Okay, let me get the.
Oh.
Let me get the comment thing up, and then we'll be good. If I can. Okay, I'm there. I think I'm there. God, I'm good with technology. Couldn't believe it. Fucking amazing.
Yeah, I just say hello to the world. Hello, kitten.
Hello.
What a beautiful, beautiful dog.
Oh, he's a legend.
Hang on a minute. We'll do a pet thing. Hang on, 2 seconds.
Pets.
Oh lord, I can't get my pets. Wrangling all that up would take 2 hours. Your cat's massive as well. Cat's bigger than your dog.
Yes.
I'm trying to put headphones on with the cat had.
It's similar, but not the same.
Very upset with me. I'm gonna put him.
Who would win in a fight?
Definitely
Definitely the cat. I think cats win.
No.
You reckon? Oh, ragdolls are pretty chill, aren't they? Yeah.
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 I don't know about that. He is a very, very mongy cat a lot of the time. He's very whiny, but hey, never mind.
Yeah, Stevie's got a ragdoll as well. He's gorgeous, a little kitten.
Yeah, he doesn't shut up as well, that cat.
Yeah, he's very verbal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cameron's just doing the dirty. Go on then, bud. Down you go. Now we've got the viewers in. Yeah, good boy. Well done.
I love that.
You have a little nap, mate. You have a little nap, boy.
For the thumbnail.
For the thumbnail. How we doing, everyone? Hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. It's been a hell of a weekend, dude. That was a fun one. We had our for those who don't know, we had our EP release show down in Bournemouth on Friday, and I'm still feeling the effects. It was fantastic. Really enjoyed that. Yeah.
If I was closer, I'd be there in a heartbeat. But I live in the middle of nowhere, as we've discussed previously.
Yeah, we're desperate to get up somewhere. We need to get. We're starting to push more north. We started with the southwest area. We want to start we've encroached on London a few times. We want to really start moving up toward the Midlands and the north. So yeah, we'll definitely be there at some point. Got to work out the way up. Get some promoters on hand. Get some booking agents up there. Really cool. I can't wait. So I'll get us introduced anyway. So everybody, please say hello to Mr. Matt Bacon from the Nevermind Polly podcast.
The fucking worst podcast on the internet, but there we go. Alas.
Disagree heavily. Matt, what we first got in touch with you, I guess it was a few years ago, wasn't it? Just around when we were releasing Sold, I think.
It was 2 years ago, very soon. Either it's just been 2 years or we're coming up to 2 years. If I've got my scheduling correct. And then you know what? I actually listened back to that episode the other day, and my God, I sounded awful. Like, technically awful. Like, just everything was awful. Like, you guys sounded great, but I was just like, I don't know, a mess of a human being. I mean, I'm still a bit of a mess now, but yeah, feeling a lot better. So it's all good. But yeah, it was fun. It was really fun, and I want to get you guys back on. So I'm going to repay the favor and have you guys on show ASAP because fucking sick, and we have lots of stories to tell.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the big we actually finally got to meet you in person this year at Download Festival, which is pretty cool, man. Enjoyed that.
Absolutely, great fun.
I think, we got pretty. I mean, we were hammered.
Absolutely hammered.
Like, that's kind of my key takeaway is that we could all be pretty hammered, pretty comfortably around each other, which was a pretty good situation to be in. But yeah, so I think we should probably start off by talking a bit about Download. But before that, do you want to just give yourself a bit of an introduction? and tell us how you got into podcasting.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I did YouTube for a long time. So 2017 to 2020, I'd done YouTube where I was kind of vlogging from festivals, things like that, in the like styles of sort of TPD TV, those kind of guys. Dill Cam, just to throw him out there as well. Just basically going there, getting drunk, recording my experience, and that was the kind of end of that. But what I didn't realize until looking back over some old footage on my hard drive was I found like podcast ideas, like snippets of things like where I sat down and just talked about things. And I was like, it was before I really knew what podcast really was. And then I massively fell in love with like Distraction Pieces podcast, Prescripus Pip, and like the Adam Buxton podcast, things like that. And I was like, oh my god, this is fucking massive. This is really cool. And then basically, me and a friend of mine, Reese, who lives in Wales, again we met at Downless. There's nice symmetry there. It was just a case of the lockdown was full flow, and it was like, should we just like play like Twitch because everyone was doing Twitch, so we did that. And we were doing FIFA Manager. What was it? Football Manager. We were managing Swansea because he's from Wales, and we were like co-doing it while talking about music and stuff. And then we realized the football chat wasn't very great, so we binned that off and just started doing a podcast. And it's kind of been a bit of a win since there, really. But yeah, and then about a year into the podcast, Reese stepped away from the podcast because he had like obviously a lot going on. He was 19 at the time. Me being in my turning 30, it was kind of like we're a bit of an age difference, different points in life. And then basically, I sent a DM to the bass player of Xylosis and Conjurer, the lovely Connor Marshall, and he said, "Yeah, I'll come on your show." And that just started the ball rolling down this ever fucking mental thing. And you guys were, I think, if I got it right, my third or fourth guest band I had on the show. So yeah, you're a part of the folklore that is this podcast. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah, deep in the roots. That's awesome, man. Yeah, and honestly, like I see you come up on my newsfeed all the time. Just the kind of crazy guests you've been getting lately is insane. You've really you've springboarded heavily. It's really cool.
So the thing with that is when I done YouTube, it was kind of like a case of right, okay, so I'm going to do like 2 festivals this year because financially that's what I can do. And then like 1 year I done like 6. And I was like at physical, mental, emotional, fucking financial breaking point. I was like, I can't do any fucking more. I can't throw any more shit at the wall and hope it sticks. Whereas now podcasting is like, I pay, like we talked about earlier about Zoom being terrible. I pay like £8 a month to Zoom and I just email fucking everyone, which costs me nothing. And it's just a case of like, if I throw enough invites out there, people might get back to me. And also something that I've learned really, really like quickly and really like has helped me so much is if you just ask, people generally might say yes.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like, you know, when I put like the likes of Perry from Pendulum on, it was a case that I just pinged him a DM on Instagram and he was like, yeah, sure. When does this Thursday work? I was like, yeah, Thursday works. I can do it anytime Thursday you want me. Like, you know what I mean? And, yeah, I sort of
Thursday works.
yeah. I sort of fall under my own weight of it and kind of go, oh shit, I've actually got to sit down and talk to these people. Because again, they're just people, but like in my head, I'm like, these are fucking massive deals to me personally, and you know, a lot of people, you know.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and I think you touched on something pretty important there that we should probably talk about just a bit. I mean, the fact that you're sending out so many emails. So I know a few people watching are kind of in their own space. They're trying to start YouTube careers. They're trying to put together, you know, vlogs and interviewing bands as well. Another thing that a lot of the guys watching they really enjoy. Obviously, the space we're in here, doing live streams with, you know, it's primarily musically oriented individuals and artists. However, last week we did have on Gavin Rand, actor extraordinaire, so that was really fun too. Yeah, and of course yourself today on the podcasting element. Something I think that's really important to sort of garner some level of success is understanding that it doesn't matter if people don't come back. Like the idea of sending out these hundreds of emails and understanding that there's only going to be a very, you know, small percentage, most likely response, especially at the start. I think a lot of people are kind of a bit scared of the idea of rejection or sort of, I guess, perceived failure there, but I don't think it is a perceived failure really. But yeah, how was your experience when you started off? Are you sort of seeing like an increase in response now, or is it sort of the same level? You just keep hammering at it, just keep going at it?
The thing was when we first started, so 2020, sorry, I think there was definitely like a lot of people were stuck indoors, they couldn't do anything, they wanted content. No matter what content was, YouTube, podcast, whatever, people needed to be like sort of fed, if that makes sense. Is the way I look at it. Like you're feeding the machine, and people just want to lap it up. Now the world's in a different place. People can go outside, blah blah. There's no lockdowns, so like, and also podcasting is harder, and content is harder than ever. So that's something that I have to take away from it. But also, like, I I'm in a position now where there is a perceived notion of which I am with PR companies, and they just trust me in the sense we just trust what you do. We know that you're quote unquote good at what you do. You know that you're a professional, and we'll just crack on with it. Whereas it's always the new PR people, the new bands, they're a little bit more skeptical. What's your numbers? Like, what's this? What's that? And it's kind of like, I find that the hardest bit because it's trying to then resell yourself based on what you've already done. But it's mad because I'll have, a quote unquote, someone who's got, let's say, like 100,000 subscribers on fucking Instagram or whatever, or they've got a massive, a band who are perceived to be massive. That podcast won't do as well as an underground name you might not have heard of, which sometimes it is a guessing game. Because to me, I'm like, I don't know what but I know the people I like to chat to and want to chat to. Does that make sense? It's such a hard thing to try and like put into words, but also like it's a case of I'll get an email saying, for example, like Zebrahead, right? I mean, I haven't listened to Zebrahead in a while in terms of like a music, but I grew up on them. They're one of the bands that from my childhood. So when they like, they're releasing a new EP, I was like, cool, can I chat to Zebrahead? And they're like, yeah, sure, that works. We can make that happen. And I'm like, okay, this is sick. This is really weird. And that podcast will do okay. But then I'll chat to a band or I'll get sent a band and go, do you want to chat to this band? And I'm like, I'll listen to 2 or 3 songs. And I'm like, yeah, they sound cool. We'll give them a whirl. And I've got no idea about their numbers, anything like that. I just go, yeah, they sound cool. We'll have a great conversation. And then their numbers will just fucking skyrocket. And I'm like, there's no science behind the numbers, if that makes sense. Because it's like, surely the big band should do quote unquote better. But I think I've worked it out is if you put into Google, let's take, like a Slipknot or a fucking Queen or whoever, like these massive fucking bands, right? They're being searched all the time on Google by fans or whatever. Therefore, your content will get lost in the algorithm potentially. Whereas if you're looking for something more like the slightly smaller, slightly more underground, the more dedicated fans that'll rise up, if that makes sense. So I think that's the science behind it, I think. But again, I'm not a statistic person. I just kind of do it and I love it. So
absolutely, man. And I think focusing on the numbers would certainly probably put you in an early grave, essentially, with a lot of this kind of stuff. I know a lot of people who sort of, they're expecting, you kind of expect like a level of natural progression with this kind of thing. But I don't think people realize how long you actually have to grind at something before people consider it something they want to go after and how many hours online you'll need. I mean, I listen sometimes to the Joe Rogan podcast as an example, and obviously it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it is the biggest podcast on the planet. And they actually talk about, how the podcast came about initially for them. And something he says is like, if he's not talking to someone he's interested in, he knows it's going to not do well. It just comes across disingenuous. He knows the episode's going to be shit because he's not actually interested in what the person's saying. So I think definitely with these kind of live stream environments, with these podcast environments, it does really matter that you actually want to speak to the person as well. It seems like that's a really good key to early success at the very least. But yeah, let's have a little chat about download then. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man, that was great fun, man. So let's just go for the basic kind of questions. What were your favorite sort of, let's say, top 3 acts that weekend?
Okay, so I hadn't prepared for this live stream. So what I will do is I will pull up the download poster because my memory is absolutely shocking. So let me just pull that. But first and foremost, Bring Me the Horizon. They should have had the trigger pulled on that band 10 plus years ago. But that being said, I'm really glad they didn't because they've given them the chance to really flesh out this thing that they're trying to do. And I knew they were going to be great. And I think a lot of people knew they were going to be great, but I wasn't quite ready for how good it was. And even tough, I consider not as great. Like Die For You is not a song as a Bring Me the Horizon fan that I can defend. Even that just kind of slipped in quite nicely into the set. And I was like, this is fine. Like this is, but then in the grander scheme of things, I was like, this is actually really good.
It
Do you know
made
what I mean?
sense, didn't it? It was one of those things.
Exactly.
Yeah. I actually I'd like to talk a bit about Bring Me actually as we're on it because I've recently gone down a rabbit hole of Bring Me the Horizon since download because I saw them back in 2010. They were like one of the first bands I ever saw, and actually I wasn't particularly impressed with them back then. Ollie Sykes came across like as just an asshole, to be honest.
Yeah.
And something that I personally think of that band is they've had a lot of growth, not only musically, because massively their songwriting is phenomenal, like,
Yeah.
and but also very much. It seems to be that from a personal perspective, and I know a lot of people will maybe not care about this so much, but I think it's quite important to you kind of want to like the people you listen to. And
absolutely.
I saw some videos just come up on my newsfeed recently of like some of the Bring Me the Horizon behind the scenes of their videos, Bring Me the Horizon sort of on tour, and they were hanging out with some of these like YouTube philosophers and just like going to the gym and working out with them and getting like good sleep patterns in place and stuff like that. And you're like, actually, these guys kind of really take this seriously now, and they're actually a really good role model now, I think, for young and upcoming bands, and most especially in that sort of more metalcore side of things. I think there's a bit of, I guess you could say, a lot of aggressive personalities there, but they seem to have really evolved past that. But have you been into them for long?
Yeah, so the first time I saw it, Bring the Horizon was 2008. So they were on. So they were just releasing Suicide Season, and I've probably seen them in excess of maybe 9 times now. And it's a case I've seen them go from like tiny club shows to headlining Wembley to All Points East. I didn't see them at Reading. I really wanted to, and now obviously a download, and it like I've seen them be really good. I've seen them been fairly poor. But I think there is a case of like it is like watching a child grow up. Really, like they started off as these children basically on a stage, not knowing what they're doing, going through like the adolescent teenagehood, and now they've come out as this fully developed thing and like absolutely slaying it. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I think they proved a lot of people wrong when they came on, because that's the thing. What people don't really remember and what they sometimes forget is the fact that Bring Me Horizon, when they first started out, they wanted to be a metal band, and metal were like, nah, fuck this. I saw them supporting Machine Head in like 2012, and they were getting booed. I mean, Machine Head crowd is gonna be hard to find for Bring Me Horizon. Anyway.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
And then they went and done, like the more experimental pop thing, and now they've come full circle again, and now everyone loves them. So they've kind of done it the hard way, the long way, but they've kind of proved everyone right from the beginning. Do you know what I mean? Those people who said, "Oh, fuck this band," they're not there anymore. So you know what I mean? It's one of them. But I think
absolutely. Yeah, agreed. And honestly, like I said, I sort of flirted with the idea of wanting to like. Actually, they were kind of one of those bands, and I can't remember who it was we talked about recently, Callum, but they're one of those bands that I really wanted to like, but I just couldn't find myself getting into up until this year. And I think that was just such a convincing live performance. That's what did it. And on top of that, the whole Church of X thing that throughout the whole day, me and the guys were like, "Oh, what's this sort of? What's this about then? What are they on about? Fish and chips and shit? Like, what?" And it was just
ingrained in my brain forever. Like,
yeah, man, it was so good. I was well impressed with that. The way they sort of went about that, having that as one of the download adverts all day, I thought was really cool. Yeah, that was fantastic. Callum, you missed out this year, dude. It was a mad year download. It was so good.
So I booked the time because basically how, like, for those of you who don't know, as much as the podcast is flying, I do have a day job. I do have to work 50 odd hours in a pub like everybody else and to earn their money and stuff. But that's the thing. I basically put in all my holiday at the start of the year, and I was like, here's the festivals I want to go to. I'm going to put press accreditation in all of them. If I get some of them, yay. If I don't get some of them, no, whatever. And download was a bit of a heartbreak because I put the accreditation in and I didn't get it, and it's like, cool, on to the next thing. And basically, I was at home with Rebecca, and I said, I really want to go. Like, she's like, well, just it's like, we'll go next year. And I just looked on Ticketmaster. I was like, sites, whatever. And I found a ticket for like 200 quid for the full 5 days. And I went, darling, can I? Because basically, as much as I love Rebecca, she is basically my PA, my lover, everything. She's my wife to be. I love her so much. Literally, but I went, have we put enough money in the wedding pot? Can we do that? And she's like, I'll see you in 5 days. And I was like, let's go. So good, so good. And yeah, I went and it was fucking amazing. But yeah, Bring Me were like my first kind of band that were like, yeah, this fucking rocks.
Mm.
I'm just looking at it now. I'm just trying to think who else I saw that was really, really like standout good.
Slipknot were consistently good, I thought, even though Corey was ill. They're always good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to talk about Metallica or?
Oh, it pains me so.
Yeah.
I love Metallica, I really do, but it's kind of like it's like watching someone you love slowly slip away. Like, do you know what I mean?
Quite literally, yeah.
It is kind of a bit like they're really good on record and they have really good days, but also they have days where they've got dementia and they can't remember the drum fills, all the rest of it. And it's kind of like, oh, just
They didn't seem to remember they were headlining a fucking rock festival. I'll say that much.
yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, it was a bit sad that.
I watched all of the first set on the Thursday, and I thought they were competent, if nothing else. I thought they played, and that was fine. Like
I thought 3 out of 4 of them were competent. I thought Lars Ulrich was.
Has he ever been?
He's missing the beat consistently. I suppose that's competently incompetent, so it counts. We'll go with it.
Absolutely. But then I didn't go and see them on the Saturday because I went into the tent and I saw Gua and I saw Monuments and then I saw the best band of the whole fucking weekend that were Creeper, and I adore that band. And like I have like a bucket list of people I'd love to have on the podcast, and Creeper and Shikari are on there.
Nice.
And I saw them play the best set I've ever seen them play. They only played for like 40 minutes. But I came out and I was just in tears. I was in absolute bits, like the fucking one of the best bands. And I was on the phone. I phoned Rebecca and I was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Creeper is so good." And like, I literally walked out, and then I saw Metallica playing on the main stage, and I thought, you know what? It's been a really good day. I'm gonna call it tonight. I just started walking back to my tent. I was like, I don't want today to be not ruined, but I don't want to like spoil this moment of how nice this has been today with that.
You've climbed to the top. You've climbed to the top of the mountain. You don't need to fall down it at the end, do you? It's like, yeah, awesome. Creeper's one of those bands I am destined to get into at some point, but I haven't done yet. So it's on my bucket list of bands to get into. Really.
You know what? Given like the way that you are on stage and things like that in the band and your kind of aesthetic, you would love Creeper. Like just like it's got Simon written all over it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so the surprise that you haven't already, but yeah, they were really, really good.
Another one like that, weirdly, is Ice Nine Kills. I know they're a bit more on the heavier side of things, but I'd not really heard of them. And our friend Dan, who designed the mask for our new music video Hero, he basically just said you have to go. Just kept saying it and forced me to go. Essentially, wasn't a hard force, but it was there. Yeah, they were insane. Their whole shtick obviously being like this kind of horror musical, like rock metal kind of vibe. They were really fun, and what they do extremely well. So that was one of the standout bands for me as well as a new discovery, I guess, for this year. They were really cool.
I've only ever seen them once before, and it was my friend Vicky. They played at the Waterfront in Norwich, which is like a tiny room of like 600 people. And she went, "Do you want to come to a gig tonight?" This was like 20. I want to say like 2017 maybe. So do you want to come to a gig tonight? And I was like, yeah, sure. What is it? And she's like, Ice Nine Kills. I was like, I've never heard of them. She's like, it's 13 quid. And I went, sure, why not? For 13 quid, I'll go. And it was one of the fucking best gigs I've ever been to. And I've been obsessed with them since.
They're awesome. They're really awesome. I love their music videos as well.
Yeah, they're so much fun. I mean, mixing the genre of horror with metalcore, like, yeah, stunning, lovely stuff. I love them. They're well good.
Yeah. Give us one more then from Download this year.
Oh, one more. Okay. So I'm gonna so there's the obvious ones I could pick. Hailstorm were fantastic, Architects were fantastic, Evanescence sounded fantastic, even though I couldn't get anyone in the stage, but I could hear them. They were really great. Pendulum were obviously fantastic, but the one that I'm gonna pick for my kind of the one pick that I say if people haven't checked out, I'm gonna go 2 actually. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go with Red Hook, who are an Australian sort of, I want to say like punk rock, party rock. I don't know how to describe them. They're very, very good. I had Emmy on the podcast last year, and she's fucking hilarious, and they were really good. And then I also want to just shout out Gua, because Gua were just fucking Gua, aren't they? They're just so much fun. Like literally, like seeing people at the front row coming out just being covered in like semen and blue fucking hair dye and shit.
Yeah.
Like, so good. So good.
I didn't really know much about Gua until I started seeing people emerge from the tent,
Oh, really?
absolutely caked in shit. So I looked them up and I was like, I see what's happened here. Yeah,
So
man,
good.
I really want to see them. Next time they're
Yeah.
there, I'll be there. Yeah.
I say I knew of the Legend of Guar. I saw them at Bloodstock. I think it was last year, and by like the second song, they'd gotten the fucking Donald Trump and like decapitated him on stage, and I was like, I'm all in. I'm all in on this already.
Yeah,
Fucking sick. Like
they always have like the most insane props from what I see, because I did like a micro rabbit hole on them that night, just checking them out on YouTube and shit. They're fucking mental, dude. They are mental.
There is I'm just trying to so there's a documentary called This Is Gua on the streaming service Shudder, which I highly recommend everyone go check out. It's really good. I think you get like 33 days with Shudder anyway, so yeah, it's well worth watching. It's like an hour and a half long.
Is that the one that's got like a weirdly high percentage of Nicolas Cage films?
I have no idea. Oh, what the Shudder? Maybe so actually. Yeah,
it would make sense to me. It's like it's got all like the B-movie horrors on there and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Nice, yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
I like a good Nicolas Cage film. The next one lined up for me is Jiu-Jitsu, which is essentially low-budget Predator coming to Earth to challenge the world to Jiu-Jitsu tournament. And Nicolas Cage is the one hero that will save us all. And I'm all in. It's perfect.
So that's the thing as well. So me and Rebecca have been together for nearly 2 years. Well, we'll be 2 years in March. Yeah, she's nodding. That's good. I'm getting a seal of approval there. 2 years in March.
Save
And
for the night, yeah.
we've been to the cinema twice in 2 years, which is really poor on my part, to be honest. But so there's 3 films, and I need your help and opinion, right? Oppenheimer, because the film. Barbie, because she wants to go see Barbie, or Indiana Jones. They all have their flaws. Like, I don't want to see a 70-year-old Harrison Ford running around. It doesn't appeal.
Yeah, I've not heard good things about Indiana Jones in the slightest.
No,
I'd skip that one if you like.
If you like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Fair.
If you hate men, you should go watch Indiana Jones or Barbie.
Fair.
If you hate yourself, you should see Oppenheimer. And by the way, I really want to see Oppenheimer. It's just a very long film, and it's a dry subject. But it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The film nerd in me wants to go and see it, but also I do want to get married in July, so I feel might not if I go and see it.
Maybe Indiana Jones.
It by then.
Yeah. If we finish watching it, exactly.
Yeah. I love Chris Nolan, but the guy gets so carried away, dude.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Yeah, I mean, damn though, he did bring us a good Batman trilogy.
He did. He did.
Oh, and Inception.
I've never seen it. Is that a faux pas? Is that a faux pas for not watching Inception?
I think you should.
I've also never seen Inception.
There we go. We need to get together, my friends, and we need to go watch Inception together. Like, I'll come down to Bournemouth.
I don't think I need to.
Yeah, screw coming to a gig.
Yeah.
I think watch Inception. Yeah, it's one of those films that I think everyone should definitely watch once. 100%. It's really, really well made. It's like, even if you've seen spoilers for it, it doesn't really matter. It's just such a good film.
Which I haven't, I don't think. Me and Rebecca were having this conversation earlier. We were talking about like series that like I'm not really much of a hype man. Like if something's really hyped, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
All the hot hype is dead. So like Game of Thrones, I said, "Do you want to go watch Game of Thrones?" And she went, "I've watched like series 1 to 3, and I wasn't bothered." I was like, "Well, if you're not bothered, I don't want to watch it on my own and like catch up." So like it's something nice to do together. But yeah, so Game of Thrones is going in the pile of things I'm not going to watch. So.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but it does fall off pretty hard, unfortunately. I was not on Game of Thrones until about season 4, and then it kind of started to go downhill after like season 5 or 6. But I mean, it's still really good. But it is a lot of episodes.
I mean, I'm a Dexter apologist, so you know what I mean. I know all about falling off at the last minute because that fucking show.
Yeah, I didn't ever do Dexter, but I've heard the Legend of Dexter the Great.
But you know what? You know what though? The season New Blood when they brought it all back, it was very good, and you could probably watch it as a standalone and not have to. Maybe not. But yeah, it's not worth watching 8 seasons to watch that one season at the very end. But it does.
Right? Yeah, man. I'm thinking of doing like a Heroes rerun soon.
You know what? I fucking love Heroes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I did that a while back.
So good.
I did Heroes rerun a while back, but that also falls off massively.
It does. But I don't, because I've watched it a few
awful.
times. I thought season 3 wasn't as bad as when it came out. You know, like with a lot of things when they're coming out, the hype kind of makes it feel like it's worse than it is.
Yeah.
I had that with Endgame, for example. I thought it was absolute dog shit coming out of the cinema, and having watched it back, it's more like cat shit than dog shit. So it's not as bad as I thought.
That's great, I love that.
It's already dry, you know. It's covered, it's under some grit. Like it's not as bad. You can't smell it as much.
I love.
I don't think I've ever rewatched a Marvel movie, or any superhero movie.
I've done rewatches just to get like friends back up to date with it and stuff. The ones I will rewatch. I'm a massive Zack Snyder fan, so I love the Justice League trilogy. I'm a massive fan of like Man of Steel. I think it's really good. Loads of people hate it because Superman kills a person. It's like
yeah,
it makes sense though. It kind of makes sense looking back. But
the thing that I always found with like Marvel films and DC films is there's never nothing really meaningful. A lot of the time, like it's all very kind of like wow, very like exotic and spicy and stuff. But there's never anything like what? Sorry, spoilers. I'm going to tell you a spoiler about someone who dies in Marvel. It's happened a while. But when Iron Man died, that actually felt like a real thing. I was like, fuck, okay, I feel that in my chest while watching this. That actually and that's when I kind of rejoined back on the Marvel train. I was like, but now I'm falling way back off it again because
Phase 4 died so much. Instantly.
It goes. We were talking earlier. I don't know if we were recording at that point, but like the content thing is like keep feeding the algorithm. It's kind of like that. Just keep feeding us. And it's like some of it's not.
I mean, what is it now? That I know they've got. Is it the Marvels coming out? And to understand what's going on in that, you'll need to have seen Captain Marvel. You'll need
Miss
to have
Marvel,
seen
the TV series.
the TV series.
Secret Invasion as well.
Secret Invasion, which I've heard is absolutely awful. Like, what's the point? There's so many things you have to consume just to consume the next thing, and I'm like,
Yeah. And you know what? You know what's mental, right? So I'm going to bring it kind of full circle back to music quickly, right? So we always talk about is people who like all types of music, really gatekeeping, right? Now, why can't if you're wearing a Slayer shirt or whatever band, insert band here, and someone goes, name me 3 songs, that's not okay, right? But you have to jump through 15 hoops to get to watch a Marvel movie to understand the fucking premise of what's going on. Like, how is that a thing that makes sense? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's absolutely awful. I think Disney are falling off anyway. From what I heard, they're selling something like 33% of their company at the moment.
Oh, really? Bloody hell.
But I think they're losing National Geographic. I didn't even know they had National Geographic, by the way, but it sounds like they're losing a lot of stuff. But I mean, it's kind of like deserved at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm fed up with Disney. The entertainment industry needs to. I mean, you say you've been to the cinema twice in like 2 years. It's probably because no good films are coming out.
That being said, the first film we went to go and see was Jackass Forever, so it's hardly highbrow, like high level.
It was entertaining, cinema. Right? I loved it. That intro sequence was pretty wild.
Yeah, that was. What was the other film we went to go and see? Oh, we saw the new Scream movie. That was the other thing we saw, which was actually really good. I did enjoy that, actually. We do love Scream. That was good.
I didn't see many horrors in the cinema. One of the ones I did go for was A Quiet Place Part 1 and Part 2 in the cinema. They were really good.
Yeah,
because that being about silence is kind of...
absolutely. I mean, the worst thing you could do in that scenario, watching that film, is like have a bad case of the farts.
Yeah, man.
And like dead silence is like, do you know what I mean? That's not real, is it? Like,
oh no.
I did.
I saw when that did happen. I feel like it was midnight screening. It might have been Endgame, actually.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think there was like a really big moment of someone that absolutely let rip in the cinema. It was a midnight screening in Southampton as well. It was a busy cinema.
Okay,
Moment for them.
I've just remembered. So, someone called Alex just put a fucking hell. Iron Man dies. Sorry, mate. I didn't. I forgot we were on stream live during this as well. So sorry, mate. If you didn't know, sorry. R.I.P. Send one up.
I don't think Alex is serious. Don't worry. If you've not met Alex, you. Oh no, I don't want to be with that guy who recommends you guests, but Alex is the fucking guy.
Yeah.
Grove Warden are a band that you'd enjoy. They're very much a band you'd enjoy. I think I should catch up on the comments actually. So Marie says, "Good evening." Good evening, Marie.
Evening.
Gavin Rand says, "Howdy, gents." Hey, good evening, Gavin. So for those of you who don't know who missed earlier, Gavin is the star of our brand new music video, Hero, which should be out by now on YouTube, hopefully.
It's very good. Very, very good.
Really enjoyed making that one. There's some like it's weird because we've made videos that have been pretty good that have been on a much higher budget than this one, and this one came out looking the best in my opinion. So it came out really well. We had like a whole lighting team as well, which was really cool. And that was we did it in the Mountbatten School up in Southampton, and had like our sound engineer who also does lights just did everything for both Ministry and Hero. We did it both videos in one day, which was pretty intense. That was a really cool experience. But yes, good evening, Gavin. Jacob also waving the hand. Good evening, Jacob. Hope you're well, mate. Marie says she saw Barbie Saturday, but it's not amazing. So
yeah, but Margot Robbie though, innit?
And Ryan Gosling. You watch it for Ryan Gosling, I think. It's
I'm Team Ken.
Yeah. Both are incredible.
If you like Margot Robbie, why wouldn't you just watch The Wolf of Wall Street on loop?
Because I'm not allowed. Because
that
will kick my butt. Like, do you know what I mean?
Why are you always watching this scene? It's really weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a coincidence, I think.
Just on
That's a lot of socks on the floor. Right. Yeah, so Alex says, fucking hell, Iron Man dies. I was going to pin that comment, but instead I've accidentally said it out loud. So, oh well. If people haven't seen it by now, then I don't think they care, I think. Maybe.
No, I think everyone's seen it. It's been like 6 years, I think. Isn't it?
You know what? Like, that is something. So, it's quite funny. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, and someone will say, "Oh, spoiler about a film that's happened 15 years ago," and I'll go, "Oh, I've not seen," and then I realize I'm the problem here. Like,
yeah, exactly.
As Tay says, "I'm the problem. It's me." Like,
it's had its cultural moment, and everyone's discussed it, and here I am, like, how could they? With you. Alex follows up with, "Please tell me nothing bad happens at the end of Titanic. That's such a wonderful love story." Well, it depends. I can't make that joke yet.
It's okay. I won't say anything bad, but what I will say is when that news story broke, this is genuinely true. I'm not saying this for a banter, right? When that news story broke, I was the news was on in the background, and I was like making tea, and Rebecca was watching it. And we're talking about this, like, going down to the submarine and to the Titanic and stuff, and I was like, I half heard it. I didn't get the crucial part of the context of the conversation that was going on, and I was like, that seems like a fucking cool thing to do. And then I walked into the room and I was like, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we retract that. Like, do you know, it's just one of those things. Like, I caught half the clip of the conversation context, missed the crucial part of it, and gone, that seems like fun. No, not for me. Not for me.
I feel like it'd be good if they didn't use, what was it, like a Logitech controller or a game controller or something. That's a pretty
well, it's not that. It's,
thing to do.
You know, that's somewhat understandable. I think, yeah.
The more you dig into that, it's absolute madness. The more you dig into that, it's crazy.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping for, and for those of you who don't know, internet historian better be bringing out a video on that soon, man. If that doesn't happen, I'll be very surprised. The Costa Concordia video was one of my favorite videos ever made.
I'm just going on YouTube now. I think it's called Infographic Show. I don't know if you guys have subscribed to that. It's very good.
Yeah.
They just basically make like animated things of like how things happen, and it's really, really good. They've actually just put out 2 weeks ago what happened to the Malaysian airliners 370, which is a documentary on Netflix. Like, it's a 4-part thing. It's very good as well.
You know what? It turns out our band account is in fact subscribed to the Infographic Show. So
there we fucking go. Influence.
One of us is watching. Yeah, I love that. I love all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I worked with some investigators for a while on these kind of things, so it was really cool hearing these stories.
That's the
Right.
thing. Do you live in ignorant bliss, or do you deep dive it? Because
I'm a statistician, data analyst, so I like to know everything.
I'm literally I'm like, I hover over on Netflix. I'm like, do I want to know what really happened? Because in my head, how the fuck do you lose an airliner? How in 2017 or whatever that happened, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah, man.
Also, I'm like, there's some sketchy shit going on there. Like, it's mad.
Well, I think there's one way to answer that question that anyone can ask themselves, and I think this one will probably get the stream taken down. But
Don't say it then.
depends. No, I'm all right.
Aliens. Aliens
No.
are real.
Aliens are. The more the government talk about that, the less I think it's real.
Now we're getting into
I
the
think
X-Files
it's an
conspiracy.
Yeah.
Nice.
The government
For
wants
me,
you to
it's like-
believe they're real.
Would you read Epstein's flight list?
Have I read it, or would I read it?
I don't think you have. If you
Yeah.
have, then no. But you would read it, right? I'd read it. I'd need
Oh
to
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's a whole fucking.
Ignorant bliss is out the window for me, because I feel like if we're able to read that, and first person ever to be convicted of, and then there's I don't know how he trafficked it to no one. But yeah, if anyone ever gets to read that, they're probably a bit dangerous. So I wouldn't admit to having read that if I were you.
Yeah. Ignorant bliss is we'll go back to.
Yeah, and if it just happened to fall on my lap, I definitely wouldn't read it, and I'd return it immediately, and I wouldn't take any photos or anything of it.
I would.
Absolutely.
It would be in safe hands with me.
Oh god. Man. Yeah, that one bothers me. Anyway, back through the comments. Alex says, what Disney did to Star Wars is the most disappointing thing to happen to me since my parents' divorce.
Fucking hell, mate.
You're starting to get how Alex is, I think. Oh, well, do you know what? Lucasfilm have a real trend lately of just hating everything they make. Because they did that, what's it called? The one with the, what's his name? Dwarven chap. Shit, let me find his name out because it's on the tip of my brain.
The what?
Yeah. What's the guy? He's an Ewok in Star Wars. He's one of the teachers in Harry Potter.
Warwick Davis.
Flipwick.
Warren Davies, yeah. He was in
Yeah.
a series recently that just absolutely it got removed from the streaming site immediately because it was just so low. No one was watching it at all.
Really?
Yeah, and that was a Lucasfilm production. Obviously, they did Indiana Jones, which if you
I think
Star Wars.
That's the thing though. Like when they've got like an original idea, and it doesn't matter how far back you go. Original's idea from Star Wars was like the 80s. They've obviously then just kept this cash cow going and going and going until there's just literally like the skeletal remains of this cash cow, and then they'll think, oh, what we'll do is we'll inject another 3 films into it and pump shitloads of money into it and hope it works, and. Yeah, I guess it probably does work to some degree, but also a lot of people who just like the thing original. Like, what?
Well, I know the latest Star Wars trilogy. The first one made, I think it was like 2 billion or something, and then by the time they got to the third one, it was down to 1 billion. So
yeah, the first one
you
was
expect
had
that to
a
get
massive,
bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
had a massive opening, but
it just fell off.
yeah.
But also they made the cardinal sin, in my opinion, that Luke, Leia, and Han Solo were never once in the same scene.
That's true. That's
Are
true.
they mental?
Yeah.
The easy win, surely, for Star Wars was just to get the 3 main characters back together again by the end of the first film or something. And they were like, no, we'll slowly kill them off over time individually on their own.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
They spoiled Disney long before I got to it. Alex says yes to Gosling, and Shanice says good evening, guys. So good evening, Shanice. Hope you're well. Right, Callum. I think Callum has some pre-prep questions for you, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, we have answered a few of them kind of naturally, but what kind of like setup do you use for your podcast, or what do you use to record?
Okay, so hang on. This could work. I've got this bad boy thing here, which is an expensive bit of kit to say the least. And then a Rodecaster mic. But you know what? I'm such a fanboy for Rode because everyone's got the Shure SM7B or whatever they are, the fucking £400 microphones, which I understand are brilliant, but one of my favorite podcasts ever, and again, I'm a massive fucking fanboy for, is a Downbeat podcast, and he uses the exact setup, and he sounds fucking incredible. So it's like, if it sounds good for him, I'm gonna use the same thing. And to be honest, it like I say, this is probably £100 mic, £500 setup with the Git, but yeah, it's kind of like that's pretty much it, and then just a shitty Logitech webcam, pretty much. So, but yeah, that's pretty much how it works, and then I just do some research. It depends on the guest. If it's a band I don't know or a guest I don't know as much about, I tend to like write a lot more notes. If it's someone I know a lot about, I can kind of free flow a bit more. But basically, I try to make it so I don't ever have. If I don't have to look at my notes once, that's a good podcast because it's just riffing conversation. But if I need them to go back to, and I have in the past where I've just gone, oh fuck, what am I talking about? Like, and go to the next point. You know what I mean? So what I try to do in terms of the structuring of the podcast is I try and do like kind of a prep sandwich. So I'll start with the promo of the reason why they're there. It's kind of like, and I hate using this analogy because it's shit, but also works really well. It's the one show effect. They'll start with the main headline. We are here with Regional One because they've got a brand new EP out. Bang. And then we'll talk about some shit in the middle. And then we'll come back to the EP at the end. And it's basically like this. And the one show do the same thing with like, here's a set of segments and guests all kind of works in that way. But yeah, basically that's to answer that question. Sorry if I will talk 100 miles an hour given the opportunity. So I'll try and keep them short.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I say, I'm quite aware you've got to head off fairly soon, so you're right if we get in one or two more.
Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, absolutely fine. Absolutely
Fantastic.
fine.
Cheers, man. All yours, Cal.
I forgot where I was. Now I've lost my notes because I'm bad at I'm bad at writing. Well, basically, I write notes, and I should order them in a similar way. You know, so they're all like grouped together. But I never do, and it's always just sporadic. So it's like, oh wait, that's related to that.
It does help when you can read.
Yeah, I also can't read that much.
I mean, I often blame my lack of English skills on a neurodivergent. Is it anyway?
Neurodivergent. I'm with you.
Which I don't have and probably will get me cancelled. But I'm like, oh, I'm this. And I'm like, I'm not that. I'm just fucking stupid and I can't read. Anyway, carry on.
So with your podcasts, do you have to like go through like a distributor to get them up on all the different sites, or is it you just upload to like Spotify?
So
you just upload to this?
yeah, Spot. So it used to be Anchor, but it's now Spotify. Podcast.spotify.com. It's free. It basically, once you get your RRS feed, which is basically what like a YouTube channel link, pretty much.
Yeah.
Once you get that imported into all the different things, it just does it itself, and you just literally upload it, write the description, write the name, ping, and it's gone. The rest of it is down to you with Instagram and Facebook and all the artwork and all that's all down to you. But again, that's all additional stuff. Like I don't need to do that if I didn't want to. I could literally just upload it and it just does its thing. But obviously helps to deal with the social media stuff, which is actually takes more time than anything really doing all that stuff. But hey.
Definitely is. It would be a lot easier if it was like just everything in one place. Be like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's so weird. There's all like different ways to listen to podcasts and all that, rather than it just being like the one.
But that's the thing as well. Like, sometimes, like, so again, not to suck Craig from the Downbeat off too much, but like he does, like he's like with 4K and like YouTube. It's like they're just as nice to listen to as they are to watch. And hopefully in the future, that's what I'm going to be able to get to a point where it's like, cool, I can just do this. Probably not over Zoom because Zoom is terrible quality, as I found out. We have this Discord call, but to do that and then be like, cool. So if you want to listen to it, you can listen to it. But also, if you want to watch it, it's going to look just as nice as looking and watching. If that makes sense.
And do you find do you get more views from YouTube, or is it more from like Spotify or
definitely? It's definitely more from Spotify than it is from YouTube. But that being said, there is like sometimes an indifference where sometimes YouTube will do a lot better than Spotify. But again, it's kind of. But to be honest, I don't really worry. I used to worry, but now I'm just kind of like, it will do what it'll do because people measure success on different ways, whether that be financial, whether that be like, I've got to this thing, I've got to that thing. When I set out like in 2017 to like do content of any description, like through that, I've got to chat to my literal musical idols. I've got to go to festivals for free. I've got gig tickets. I met my fiance, my wife to be in July through doing this. It's like, if someone comes to me tomorrow and says you can't do any of it, I was like, I've won. I've completed what I set out to achieve. So anything extra is just, this is just fucking cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get to chat with people like yourselves, and I was met you guys down and you're fucking wicked, and it's like, cool. I just get to do this, and this is just fun. Like, I stop. Sometimes it is work. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it is work, but also sometimes it's like, well, this is just fun, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? I do it for as much as it is pleasure as anything else. And I done an interview with Stephen Hill, who's a Metal Hammer journalist and a podcaster and all the rest of it. And he said something to me that was really just stuck with me ever since I had that conversation. He said, if you ever get onto any Zoom call, any kind of situation because of what you do, and you're not into it, stop immediately. He said, because like he's been doing it for like 10 years. Every time like he talks to, whether it be Max Cavalera or the guys in Shikari or Creeper or whatever it may be, it's like, if I'm not excited about doing it, I don't want to fucking do it. Like, I'm just going to stop doing it. And it's like, that to me is just the perfect kind of encapsulation of why we all do it, why you guys are in a band, because you enjoy doing it, because you love doing it. If you weren't enjoying it, you'd probably just go after a few months, years, whatever, go, well, fuck this. Because it's fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one wants to do it if it's not fun, you know?
Yeah, well, for sure, you when you're forming the band, especially, like, you go through a lot of different members, because for some people the way we do things might not work for them, and
of course,
they might not work. It's definitely that as well. Like, there has to be the right synergy with the people you're working around, I think, and kind of similar to that, you've got to be on there with people you want to speak to, kind of thing. I think even more so when you're in a bloody tour van with them for weeks on end.
I can't help but know that I'm a control freak as well. That's one thing I've learned, and I've kind of come to terms with that, and that's fine. I've had two co-hosts, and they both contributed massively towards the show, but also I was kind of the reason why it all kind of fell apart. And it's kind of like, okay, that was shit. Like, I probably treated them worse than I should have done back in, and we're friends to a degree now, but it's kind of like, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. I fucked some people over. I shouldn't have done that. But you live and learn. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And now when people say to me, "Oh, would you ever get like a co-host?" and I was like, "Well, Rebecca, obviously my behalf, is kind of the silent co-host, because pretty much every email I go, can you just double check this makes sense? Double check this is okay. Make sure this artwork looks as like centered or whatever." And again, that's kind of like having, and she'll come on from time to time and just chat bare shit with me. Do you know what I mean? So
That's awesome.
that's just nice, So yeah, it's just fun basically, and I love doing it, man. It's just fun.
Yeah, man. Well, do you know what? Thank you very much for coming on with us this evening. It's been real good to catch up again, dude. Where can people find you if they're actually, for two things? Where can people listen to you and watch you? And secondly, we might have some other bands watching that might want to get in touch with you. Are you open to submissions?
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram and Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I mean, I did have Twitter at one point, but yeah, I don't use it. TikTok, I'm meant to be getting on, but haven't got the time, basically, unfortunately. Unless Meta buys TikTok and makes it all one seamless thing.
Yeah, right.
Dream, I can just post it all to all three. Brilliant. Until that happens. And then in terms of anyone getting in touch, just drop me a DM on Instagram. I promise I will try and get back to everybody. If anyone wants to, obviously drop me a DM. But again, I just get so much music, which is a byproduct of what is really great about it. Because I'll get sent a record and I'm like, fucking let's go. This is it. I got sent the new Shikari record about 6 weeks before it was meant to be released to the public. And they're my favorite band of all time. So you can imagine my absolute elation. But the annoying thing was, I didn't actually know it was in my inbox until about a week before it came out. So it's just weird record. I've had this for how long? I was so annoyed at myself. But yeah, basically, if anyone wants to get in touch, and we'll try and make it happen. But yeah, I've currently got at the minute, I'm about to join a Zoom call with a band in a moment, but I'm just looking at my Zoom schedule. I've got 6 this week. So in very range styles, and so that's quite fun. I'm talking to a Michigan-based metalcore band called Of Virtue, and then I've got a blues guitarist, Blood Command, Mark Hudson of Dragon Force fame, a rock grunge band called Return to Dust, and the excellent Matt Stocks of Life in the Stocks podcast, who I've been chasing for about a year. So that's all fucking to come. So
fantastic. And that's at Nevermind Polly Podcast, isn't it?
Pretty much everywhere. Yeah, lovely stuff.
Fantastic.
And
Guys, good news. Also, Hero has just finished its render onto YouTube. So for those of you who are watching who haven't seen our new music video for Hero, we just had a quick re-upload. We wanted to fix some credits. So please, if you have watched it, give it another watch. If you haven't watched it, head over to our YouTube. I'll pop a link in the chat now. The brand new music video is out and available for streaming and watching as of this very minute. So please do check that one out, guys. We're proud of it. We want those views. We want to get those labels onto us. Tasty money. Eventually, hopefully that might come to fruition. We've got plans for possibly a full-length album next, so we'll see. But yeah, thank you very much again, Matt. We appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
Let's do this again sometime, man. It's always good to chat.
Yeah.
You know what? I was going to say, I'd love to. So way back in the day, I'd done a drunk cast for Christmas. I'm gagged to do a drunk cast again, and I've got the perfect band in mind for it. If you're up for it, gents.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty good drunk. We behave.
Yeah.
We'll do full disclaimers of being we are getting progressively more hammered, and we'll cover topics, and it'll all be a laugh. If you're up for it,
we'll bring some drinking games.
Yeah, exactly.
We should introduce you to the thing that Stevie created as a drinking game. We'll explain that another time.
Amazing. Right, I'll catch up with you all soon.
Nice one.
Go stream Hero now. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye. See you later. Thank you so much.
He's gone. Now it's just us. We're still live, and it's just us. I'm gonna press the button. Goodbye, everyone. Watch Hero.
Watch Hero.